서울의 도시빛을 소개합니다. 서울은 인구 970만의 도시로 28만여 개의 가로등, 23만여 개의 보안등, 4만여 개의 공원 등 930여 개소의 장식 조명, 62개소의 미디어 파사드를 가지고 있습니다. 서울은 이렇게 다양하고 많은 조명 속에서 서울의 밤을 더욱 스마트하고 아름답고 안전하게 만들어가고 있습니다. 서울은 어떤 빛을 만들어가고 있을까요? 서울은 시민들이 스스로 만들어가는 조화로운 빛의 도시 서울이라는 비전과 빛의 주체인 시민, 빛의 대상인 도시공간, 빛의 시스템인 조명 인프라를 고려한 세 가지 목표를 가지고 서울의 빛을 만들고 있습니다. 품격 있는 야간 경관 정책과 빛공해 없는 생활환경 구축, 스마트 조명 시티 구축, 도시예술 미디어 파사드의 활성화, 균형 있는 광고 문화 조성이라는 5가지의 핵심 정책으로 시민이 행복한 서울의 도시빛을 실현하고 있습니다. 서울의 빛은 시민의 안전하고 행복한 도시 생활을 만들어가고 있습니다. 밤에도 편안한 휴식 공간과 문화 공간을 만들고 밤에도 안전한 도시 환경을 만듭니다. 서울은 역사와 문화를 담고 있는 도시입니다. 서울의 도성은 역사성과 역동성을 담은 아름다운 야경을 만들어가고 있는데요. 흥인지문, 본이문, 숭례문, 숫정문의 사대문과 해화문, 소이문, 광희문, 창희문의 사소문을 두었으며 총 길이 약 18.6km에 달합니다. 재미있는 속설을 가진 덕수궁 돌담길은 산책로로 인기가 높습니다. 서울 도심 중앙에 위치한 남산 전망대는 360도 파노라마 뷰를 자랑하며 남산 타워의 조명은 아름다움과 동시에 미세먼지 정보 등을 제공하고 있습니다. 시민에게 휴식과 감동을 선사하는 도심 속 청계천과 다채로운 공간으로 구성된 세빛섬은 색다른 수변 문화를 즐기는 공간으로 자리매김하였습니다. 물과 사람의 인연이 흘러 예술로 치유하고 화합하다라는 뜻의 홍제유연은 환상적인 분위기의 설치 미술로 감탄사를 자아냅니다. 한강의 남과 북을 이어주는 33개의 한강교량 중 26개 교에 야간 경관 조명을 설치하여 운영하고 있습니다. 서울시는 환경에 따라 조명환경관리구역을 지정하여 운영하고 5개 조명의 색온도 정립을 통해 더 나은 조명 환경을 만들고 있습니다. 또한 곳곳의 미디어 파사드, 대형 디스플레이를 이용한 미디어 아트 등은 예술도시 서울의 빛과 문화산업 및 미디어 콘텐츠의 새로운 발전 가능성을 제시하고 있습니다. 도시빛과 조명의 변화 속에 현대의 과도한 도시빛은 오히려 빛공해라 불리며 도시 미관을 해치는 요소로 작용하고 시민들의 불편을 야기하기도 합니다. 이에 서울시는 야광경관 가이드라인을 수립하고 좋은빛위원회를 운영하고 있으며 환경과 미래를 생각하는 똑똑한 도시 조명을 만들어가고 있습니다. 불필요한 빛을 차단하고 LED 조명 보급과 스마트 가로등 구축, 간판 개선 사업 등 서울시 도시빛 정책을 통해 상당수 개선하며 도시경관 수준 향상에 기여하고 있습니다. 서울의 빛은 서울 시민을 더 안전하고 행복하게 합니다. 서울의 빛은 서울의 역사와 문화를 더 빛나게 합니다. 서울의 빛은 환경과 미래를 생각하는 똑똑한 빛을 추구합니다. 시민이 스스로 만들어가는 조화로운 빛의 도시 서울.
네, 여러분 박수 한번 주실까요?
Ladies and gentlemen, could you all give us a big round of applause for this wonderful urban lighting? So we are living in this wonderful world of light. I was born in Seoul, lived here all my life, but did not know that Namsan Tower changes its color based on the level of fine dust. This is new to me. So the urban lighting policies of the Seoul metropolitan government are established in consideration of all the needs and various factors. We have two experts today with us. First, we have Director Kim Dae-kwon of Urban Light Policy Division of Seoul Metropolitan City and CEO Jeong of Eonsld. Nice to meet you all. Did I introduce you properly? Could you introduce yourself again? Hello, I'm Kim Dae-kwon from Seoul Metropolitan City. It's so wonderful to see you. Hello, I'm Jeong, the CEO of Eonsld, and you've done a wonderful job of introducing us. Thank you. Thank you. Well, many people are so glad to have you here today. Namsan Tower, of course, has been designed by Ms. Jeong. So how did you come up with such a wonderful idea? The tower changing its color based on the level of fine dust. Namsan Tower is like the icon of Seoul metropolitan city. So what kind of icon do we need? What kind of icon can provide the maximum level of happiness and pleasure to our citizens? And we came up with various ideas, and we thought we could use fine dust level as some kind of criteria. So if we have too much fine dust, the color will be darker. And if it's better, it's going to turn green. Yes, I'm definitely going to pay more attention to the color of the Namsan Tower. So designing the lighting, coming up with various ideas is what the light policy of Seoul government is all about. So could you explain the details of your urban lighting policy? In 2010, I joined our department, urban lighting department. It was just a team at the moment, and I've been in the team for 10 years, and I've now become the head of this team. And in 2019, I was involved in establishing the master plan for urban planning. And then I thought long and hard about what should be our vision. We thought it was important to get the citizens participating here. So our vision was harmonious lighting created by the citizens. So that was our vision. And in order to implement that vision, we came up with 3 major goals. And the lighting itself is important, but we also have to give ownership to the people. And also the container of light is the space. So people, lighting, and space coming together in harmony, that was our focus. And we came up with 5 major policies. And Seoul is 2,000 years old, ancient capital. And we need to come up with dignified nightscape. And by 2010, we began paying more attention to developing a city that can prevent photo pollution or light pollution. And recently, we thought we needed a landmark in our city, and then we came up with facade policies. And the advertisement policy is also important because outdoor advertisement often is seen as the face of the city. So we needed to make outdoor advertisement more artistic. And then we also need smart lighting policy. So we came up with these 5 policy objectives, and these policies are being implemented smoothly. Each and every one of these 5 policies is so important, so we can never fail on any one of it. So one department responsible for urban lighting policy of Seoul. That's great. So is there any change you have witnessed? Yes, we see a lot of change. Whenever I go up to Namsan Tower and look at the entire city from the tower, I can see a lot of difference. Yes, that's true. Our citizens might be able to see how the royal palaces and bridges on Han rivers are illuminated in a beautiful way. And we really see tangible difference. And thanks to the people who are formulating and implementing urban lighting policies of Seoul. And CEO Jeong is designing urban lighting. So what do you see? As a designer from the private sector, how would you describe the urban lighting policy of Seoul? In the case of the city of Seoul, they have a lot of unique structure, historic structure, the present, and the advanced technologies. We also have mountains and a river. So in terms of landscape, we have so much diverse factors, and it's one of the most three-dimensional cities you can come across. So it has various factors that needs to be managed, coordinated in urban lighting. And developing a manual for Seoul's urban lighting policy, that's very important. Well, at first, urban lighting policy was seen as a regulation or guideline, but we realized that Seoul's urban lighting policy is about making things better so that we can do this better, demonstrating the unique identity of Seoul as a city and use the light in a good way and still manage to regulate the light. So these are very essential factors, and the Seoul city is doing an excellent job of all these three factors. So we have very calm, peaceful atmosphere around the Han River. We have media facade and other advanced technologies that also create dynamic atmosphere throughout the city. And it also creates a very unique landscape for Seoul. So Seoul has this elegant and unique identity in urban lighting. And for that, Urban Lighting Policy Department of Seoul Metropolitan Government has established the policies and ordinance to prevent light pollution. And that is based on public, private governance and various committees working together. And as a designer, it was very convenient to participate in this kind of activities, and there was just the right level of regulation that did not prohibit our creativity as a designer. So it's a great working environment. Seoul metropolitan city. Seoul is a very big city compared to any other city in Korea. So Seoul is a huge city without a question, and designing the urban lighting for such a huge city that has the mountains and rivers, that would be very interesting and unique experience. But for the Seoul city, public and private sector working together might have its own challenges from time to time. Yeah. As I've said before, our vision is urban lighting policies created by the citizens. And to make that happen, private-public sector cooperation should be the foundation. And as Ms. Jeong has mentioned, we have 40 experts who are the members of Good Light Committee for Seoul. And whenever we design new policies, we work with advisory committees, and we do public hearings all the time to get the feedback from people. And as Secretary General Mark Page has mentioned, we are paying more attention to international exchanges. We have good ideas from Korea, but we can also gather larger number of great ideas from all around the world, and we can also find out the most up-to-date trend about public policies around the world through LUCI. And we believe citizens' participation is really critical for successful policy implementation, because whenever we introduce or implement a policy without public participation, the failure is more likely to happen. So, Good Light Committee reviews various ideas, and we provide awards to excellent ideas. And we also have public competition for great outdoor advertisement, and we also have photo exhibition for good lighting. These are all carried out to promote public understanding and awareness of urban lighting. We also provide incentives to stakeholders. And thanks to citizens' participation, we are successfully implementing a lot of urban policies, and 17 local governments in Korea are benchmarking Seoul's urban lighting policies. Yes, as you have said, citizens' participation is important. And you said that you're listening to the opinions and feedback from the stakeholders, and you've talked about Good Light Committee. And you've also talked about light pollution or photo pollution, creating difficulties. Like if the Christmas tree lights are turned on for a long time, I sometimes felt sorry for the trees. So Ms. Jeong, what do you think about light pollution? There are various government ordinances for photo pollution, so you need to design in a way that protects the nature. So what's your solution for that? Light pollution is often miscommunicated. Light is there all the time. Not all lights are pollution. Light pollution, well, it depends on the quality of life. In certain night environment, if you feel you're hurt or suffer damage from light, that's when we can say it's light pollution. But sometimes light can give us happiness and pleasure. So whether it's a pollution or not depends on what kind of impact it has on my living environment and my space. The brilliance or the glare of light, they are not absolute measures. They are relative measures, in my opinion. So light pollution in a residential area, well, street lights would have certain luminance, but that kind of luminance might not be good enough on a highway. So it's a relative measure. So it depends on how much the quality of life has suffered from the light. Good light is having the right amount of light at the right time and the right space. That defines good light. So let me sum up. If there is too much light, we could say that's light pollution that needs to be controlled. Good light is when the light contributes to quality of life enhancement and also contributes to the identity, beauty of the city without destroying the natural environment. And our designers try to promote good design concept and also prevent light pollution. And we have Seoul Metropolitan Government's ordinances and guidelines for our design. So it depends on the quality of life, what kind of impact it has. It could be good light or light pollution. So when Seoul Metropolitan Government establishes the policies for the citizens, you might want to control or prevent light pollution through regulations and ordinances. So could you explain what kind of ordinances you have and how you are responding to various challenges? So I think Ms. Jeong has explained what light pollution is. The Seoul Metropolitan Government has one of the most advanced policies in the world in preventing light pollution. In 2010, the Seoul Metropolitan Government has established an ordinance to prevent light pollution. And after the ordinances came out, 2 years later, we established a law for preventing photo pollution. And to introduce the law, we had to work closely with many members of the National Assembly. And we thought about the best way to handle this as a policy. At first, we thought about there should be no glare for drivers of cars. Everything was kind of quantitative. So we wanted to introduce some quantitative measures instead of qualitative measures. So throughout Seoul, we divided the region into 5 different areas by introducing light environment management area scheme. So depending on the function of the space, we would define the right level of light and introduce the regulation. Light environment management area scheme. Let's say you are putting up an outdoor advertisement or signage for your business, and if you have your business in the forest next to a hike walk, then we have this regulation of 50 candela. And those who are next to a highway, it's 400 candela per square meter. And in commercial areas that requires a lot of bright light, it is 1,000 candela per square meter. So the entire area of Seoul is classified into level 1 to level 4. So we have provided the quantitative guideline as part of the Light Pollution Prevention Act. So that has brought about so many changes in Seoul. If we have a business and I need to set up a outdoor signage, of course I would want my signage to be brighter than my competitors. That's the human instinct. Then everybody would end up installing brighter and brighter signage, creating too much light throughout the city. And especially people who have restaurants or lodging industries or facilities pushed back hard on introducing such regulations. But we had to persuade them having too much light would eventually reduce the effects of advertisement and also cost them a lot. So we provided them with objective data to persuade them. When the act was first introduced, there was huge amount of resistance from the stakeholders, but we persuaded them, and some of them even came to us, please give us a designation as part of Lighting Environment Management Area scheme. So the scheme was introduced in 2015, so 5 years on, we haven't seen any major civil complaints. So I think lighting industry needs to embrace a lot of people, a lot of industries in a harmonized manner. But we are running out of time. I would love to carry on this conversation, but this is a very last question, and I want both of you to make brief answers. After the COVID-19 era, how do you think the future of urban lighting will evolve in the post-COVID era? So could you give us brief answers? The keyword of this workshop is recovery, well-being. I forgot my next word. And Vice Mayor has briefly mentioned before this conference, after the pandemic, we will never go back to the pre-COVID era. So it's a matter of how much we can go back, but we are stuck with online and hybrid way of working forever. And we are going to see less people walking at night. And our urban lighting policy is going through a lot of dramatic changes as we speak. How the citizens would walk around at night and how the urban lighting will contribute to economic growth. These are the future areas of focus for our policies. And as for quantitative guidelines or regulations for photo pollution prevention, well, they are introduced as regulations, trying to control or regulate everything. But we think the focus should shift to improving the quality of life, creating demand for tourism, and especially for the youth. We have so much excellent content that can be used, but because of the pandemic, everybody is kind of holding back. So we really have to release their energy. Up until now, we've had negative policies, but we will have to transform them into positive policies. Thank you, and Ms. Jeong-mi. Well, nobody can predict exactly what will happen in the post-COVID era. Seoul City has come out with good regulations, but I think it will evolve even further. After COVID-19, people would experience some changes in their outdoor activities. I think many people are having leisure in parks, so the urban life should be safer. It basically comes down to the quality of lighting. The lighting quality should be improved, and in order to create good lighting, there should be balanced growth so that we can promote growth of lighting in marginalized areas of our society, like outdoor park facilities, installations, and the lighting object that people can enjoy, and local events that citizens can participate in. All those smaller things will develop in more detail, and obnoxious facilities that were marginalized and isolated, they can be brought in as part of this balanced framework. And another new idea is that many buildings are going empty these days. So in order to utilize the space, we can use urban lighting to promote urban farming, because there is a pent-up demand for fresh and safe food and plant. So we can create urban lighting that can help the plants to grow. So I think there are diverse ways for urban lighting policies to be advanced. Well, we are going to outside, outdoors, to enjoy ourselves a lot. And that means urban lighting will become an even more aspect of our lives. So we need to wrap up now. Well, I did not know Namsan Tower was changing color all the time. But if you would like to suggest one place to citizens for them to visit, could you share that spot? What kind of spot would you recommend for us to visit? These days, parks are getting better and better, like Riverside Park around Han River, and also parks in Mokdong area. They're getting new lights installed these days. So I recommend parks in Mokdong, and like Perry Park and Sebit Island on Han River. So the parks, I recommend you. The Perry Park in Mokdong, yeah, it was newly refurbished. Yes, I would definitely go there. Director Kim, I love mountains. So I would like to recommend the Hanyang Castle Town. Lights need some object to reflect. And as an object, in order to promote the awareness of Seoul and understanding of the history of Seoul, I think Hanyang, Castle Town, is the best place for us to learn the history of the city and also enjoy the beauty of nightscape around Seoul. And if you are there with your lover, that's going to be even better. Do we have to be there with a lover? But anyway, yeah, it's a great atmosphere to have a walk with your boyfriend or girlfriend around the castle town. So we've had a very brief but insightful discussion about urban lighting. We have realized how much impact urban lighting can have on our lives. Please give these two experts a big round of applause.